मारुततुल्य वेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। पूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविता शाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजाः पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनम्। The title of the gathering should have been, instead of Hanuman's advice, it should have been Tara's intervention. So we'll change that. So Lakshmana, who's angrily walking into Kishkindha, thumping the ground and causing tremendous fear in all the monkeys, in Kishkindha. Lakshmana passes through the kingdom of Kishkindha and observes its beauty, its regality, and its abundance. And then he arrives at the gates of Sugriva's palace. Sugriva's palace is not a single family home or an apartment or even row houses. It is very, very massive. There are 7 gates. There are 7 gates where from one gate into another itself, there are like massive courtyards. If any one of us has been to Sri Rangam, we may have a slight idea of how it is. Sri Rangam is one of the largest temples in India. And it is large because a massive, almost town lives within 7 gates of the temple. So it's very, very beautiful, fascinating. And Lakshmana arrives at the doors of Sugriva's house. And there, he sends a message to Angada. Let Sugriva know I'm here. And last week we discussed Angada narrating the message. And Sugriva becoming very perturbed. Why is Lakshmana here? And the fact that he seems angry. Meanwhile, Valmiki Rishi gives us a view of what is going on with Lakshmana. He's standing at the door and then he enters the palace, because at this point nothing can stop him. And as he enters, he is surprised to see how ornate, how well decorated Sugriva's palace is. All the sofas are made of gold, and all the cushions are made of exquisite silk. There are waterfalls, fountains.
Hare Krishna,
Yeah,
Prabhu.
can you hear me? Yeah.
Prabhu, the video is not on. Is that what you'd like? No?
No, my video is on.
Okay, now it's on, Prabhu. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I think on my phone, when I change the window, it somehow seems to turn off the video for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know, something's wrong with my computer, so I have to do with the phone.
Okay.
So Lakshmana walks in and he sees all these fountains, waterfalls, very exquisite birds, musicians singing, angelic maid servants running back and forth, servants very eager to serve their master, and I guess mistresses Tara and Roma. And he finally arrives at the place where Sugriva is right indoors. Obviously, Lakshmana cannot enter Sugriva's bedroom. So he stands outside all alone. And from inside, he is hearing multiple instruments being played, stringed instruments that are playing in perfect harmony. And the music is music that stimulates eroticism, because Sugriva inside is enjoying with his queens, with intoxicating beverages, stimulating foods, music, fragrances, garlands, fragrant ointments, and things that enhance his enjoyment. And this music is very uplifting, not uplifting spiritually, but stimulating. So Lakshmana becomes a little annoyed and he wants to make sure this is stopped. So he takes his bow and twangs its strings. And as he twangs its string, the noise is so loud and shattering in all directions that the music comes to a complete dead stop. And Sugriva, who's lying down on his bed, suddenly is shook up or shaken up and wonders, oh, Lakshmana is right here. And why is he here? And with a mix of complete bewilderment and intoxication and anxiety, he looks at Tara and says, Tara, what do you think is going on? Lakshmana being here seems like we have done some fault, although I can't remember making any mistake. I don't think I've done anything that will incite his anger to this degree. Can you please assess what is going on? You tell me if I've made some mistakes and how I can rectify it. In fact, Tara, you're such an intelligent woman. You know these worldly means. I would feel that it would be perfect for you to intervene and speak to Lakshmana first. And just seeing you, a woman of high character and great lineage, Lakshmana's anger will subside. Because great personalities don't vent their anger on women. If you feel you can say some things that are soothing, pacifying, and calming to Lakshmana, this great personality, Lakshmana, who just by his vision can finish his enemies, I think it will be very beneficial, Tara. So Tara, who is a very, very beautiful woman, who has not only great physical beauty, but a very sharp intelligence. She herself is intoxicated and by reveling with Sugriva, but comes to her senses very, very quickly and gets up from her bed and does not even adjust her jewelry. Generally, if we see in India, let's say, someone rings doorbell, then the woman of the house will adjust her dress and make sure at least she is presentable. In this case, Tara did not. Her jewelry was all helter-skelter. Her dress for whatever was there was not in proper order. She was wearing garlands of exquisite fragrant flowers where you can see the string because some flowers had broken off the garland. Some flowers were completely crushed. Some had faded or wilted. And in her countenance, with her eyes sort of rolling within their sockets, she opened the door and looked at Lakshmana. As soon as she came there, Lakshmana got a complete whiff of her condition. And because Lakshmana is very, very cultured, he, although stood there, he bowed his head down as a matter of respect to Tara. Not bow down like offered obeisances, but hung his head so that he doesn't see her in her condition. Generally, when a person glances or stares at a woman who's, let's say, not properly dressed, or she's unaware that she's not properly dressed, but comes to becoming aware, then makes the woman bashful or shy or embarrassed. And so Lakshmana did not want to embarrass her, nor did he want to embarrass himself because he's cultured. He didn't want to stare at her. Then Tara said with great respect, "O Lakshmana, O great prince, what is the cause of your anger?" Now, how does Tara know Lakshmana is angry? Of course, Angada has mentioned, plus the twanging of the bowstring gave her a full idea. And she says, "Lakshmana, has anyone defied your order? Who would even think of some act like that, Lakshmana?" When hearing Tara's words like that, Lakshmana, with great confidence and trust in her, said, "Kim ayam kama vritta te lupta dharmartha sangraha bharta bhartu hite yukte nacha evam avabudhyase." O Tara, you are a great consort to your husband. Why is your husband wallowing in lusty activities by forgetting his dharma? He's forgetting his riches, and his mental state is not good for him or for his kingdom. And don't ask me, you should already know this. And he's not considering the interest of the kingdom. He's not considering our interests. So your husband is not even considering the advice of his ministers. This is an indirect hint to Tara that Sugriva, by his act of not fulfilling his promise to Sri Ramachandra, has put his entire kingdom at risk. He says that your husband has not figured out that the 4 months of Chaturmas is over, and that he has a commitment that he has not fulfilled. And so he has become, or he stands the risk of becoming an untrustworthy person. Is his drinking and reveling in such absent-mindedness or negligence any good to him? And if a person does not understand how he has gained everything by the benefit of or by the grace of others, especially his friends, that this person becomes a complete derelict, or a person who has no value for what he has received and no value for the persons through whom he has received. And look at your Sugriva. He can't even stand straight. He's so intoxicated that he's swinging. His steps are not with gravity. You know, in America and in India, when someone is driving under the influence, the police will tell them to come out of their car, hold their arms parallel to the ground, and walk in a straight line. And if they're intoxicated, it's very hard because they're swinging. Their head is in such intoxication, the brain cannot give orders of balance to the body. And so they lose their balance, or they will have a misstep. He says, look at Sugriva. He can't even stand straight. And when Lakshmana said this, Tara comes to understand that, oops, Sugriva has not committed any offense towards Ramachandra, but he has neglected the lapse of time. He had mentioned 4 months, and that in that 4 months, she will tell Lakshmana that he has done things, except he has not communicated that back to Sri Ramachandra. So Tara responds to Lakshmana, oh, great Prince Lakshmana, please don't become angry. And you may show anger at people who are outsiders. But as far as Sugriva and we are all concerned, we are part of your family. We're part of your little group or your followers. And so please kindly tolerate Sugriva's mistake. In fact, Sugriva is very, very desirous of fulfilling his promise to you. And Lakshmana, you're such a great Arya, cultured person. Sugriva is, after all, a Vanara. So for someone like you who's so superior, and for someone, Sugriva, who's so inferior or a very meager being, you showing anger on such persons doesn't add to your glory. Huh? Because even Bali could not recognize the glory of your brother. So then, Sri Lakshmana, please, don't become angry or curb your anger. She says, I'm aware of Sri Ramachandra's fury. Ramachandra is actually a friend of all these monkeys, including Sugriva. I'm also aware that the promised time has elapsed. I'm aware of the mistake we have committed. But whatever needs to be done in this matter also, I am aware. So this verse has a lot of janami, means I know. 4 lines, 4 janamis. Janam Harivira Bandho. Harivira Bandho is Ramachandra, who is the friend of all the monkeys. She says, I understand his anger. Janami, I'm aware. Janami karyasya cha kala sangama. I understand or I know the work that needs to be accomplished. I also know or I'm aware of the time. Janami karyam tvayi yat kritam naha. I also know what needs to be done by us. I'm aware of it. Tatcha apijanami yat atra karyam. So I also am aware of what needs to be done right away. Tatcha apijanami yatha avishwahyam balam narashreshta sharirajasya janami yasmin sa jane avabaddham kamena sugrivam astakamadhyaha. And I'm also aware of how intensely Sugriva is bound in bodily enjoyment. I'm also aware as much of all the females that are assisting Sugriva in such pleasures. So it's not just Ruma and Tara, but many. But please understand, Lakshmana, that Sugriva is a very ordinary living being. His senses are not that controlled. He is enjoying sensualities because he was deprived of them for a very long time. He was kicked out of the kingdom. So he was living in the forest without the company of his wife. He did not have the company of uh, all of his fellow enjoying monkeys. He did not have the facility for eating fancy foods, rajasic foods. He didn't have a nice bed that will stimulate such sense gratification in him. But he has come back after such a long time. So a person of his nature, or a person whose senses are not controlled, unfortunately, will fall prey to such lust. And Sugriva, or Lakshmana, uh, how can we blame Sugriva? A person who's already weak, when finds himself in the middle of all these stimulants, what to do? I don't see that as his mistake. I see that as his weakness. He's sensually weak. And then she says, after all, Sugriva is a monkey, Vanara. Now, when I say monkey, I don't mean it in a diminutive way, nor should we look at them as the monkeys we see in Vrindavan or the langurs in Hampi. Not animalistic like that, but not evolved as human beings are. So a little lesser. And she says, what to speak of simple Vanaras like Sugriva? Great rishis fall prey to this. And so she's slowly entering a very sensitive topic. While she's speaking to Lakshmana, her eyes are still within this intoxicated condition. She says, Lakshmana, even great rishis fall prey, but if you actually look carefully, that your own spirit, she doesn't say it this way, but she says the great Vishwamitra, he too, after thousands of years of meditation, sense control, fell prey to the company of Ghritachi. And to such a degree that he spent 10 years with her without any awareness of the passage of time. So if someone great like that, then what to speak of Sugriva? So there is this concept in poetry and even in our scripture called Dhvani. Dhvani means, obviously we all know it means sound. The reason it's called Dhvani is when you hear a sound, it is not necessary that we also see the source of sound. For example, if someone is sitting in a different room and either watching TV or playing some music or playing an instrument, we don't see the instrument, we don't see the TV, we don't see the loudspeaker, but we hear it. We hear the sound coming from those instruments. So it's called Dhvani. Similarly, in the narration of great stories like the Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata, the author or the poet will not necessarily fill every detail. It is for the reader to connect little pieces and understand the context, the scene, everything that is going on. And there are many things that are unspoken, but they all are meant to be understood. And that is called Dhvani. So in this Dhvani, when she refers to great rishis and says Vishwamitra, she is invoking two things. One, she's saying out of respect of how great Vishwamitra is, number one. Second, because by invoking the name of Lakshmana's guru, Lakshmana, the Dhvani is the Lakshmana should become very pacified because he is being made aware of his spiritual master. She's not saying anything bad about Vishwamitra. She's just invoking Vishwamitra's name. That's one. Second, in one sort of diplomatic way, she's saying or she's hinting at or referring to Vishwamitra's story so that Lakshmana will become calmed down. Otherwise, there are all these possibilities of Lakshmana becoming embarrassed if she says it further that, oh, Vishwamitra had accidents, but still he's a great person because he put himself back, he reinstated himself on the process of tapasya and bhakti. And Sugriva, after all, is a very ordinary, very, very ordinary being. So great personalities like Vishwamitra's can have a slip, what to speak of Sugriva. By this, she's invoking a natural compassion that is there in Lakshmana. Lakshmana is always very compassionate. In fact, we will hear that he's referred to as a person whose heart is very, very soft, mridu, gentle. But his fury is because Ramachandra is offended. So when Tara said like this, Lakshmana didn't say anything. He just became soft. At this time, Sugriva now, who was in one sense using Tara as a shield, stood in front of Lakshmana. Lakshmana still agitated, his senses. So Lakshmana, who's also exasperated, and Sugriva got off from his golden bed and stood in front of Lakshmana. And he couldn't even stand straight. He was wobbling and out of balance. And when he started stumbling, Ruma and other monkey ladies, Vanara ladies, came to give him some support and prop him up so he could even at least stand. So he looked like the full moon in the middle of all the stars. His eyes are bloodshot, red. And he joined his palms somehow in front of Lakshmana. And Lakshmana appeared like a kalpavriksha. And there is meaning for this verse. Samrakta nayanaha, bloodshot eyes. Shriman sanchachara kritanjalihi. Shriman is Lakshmana, Sugriva. He's referred to as Shriman because he's standing in front of Lakshmana. Lakshmana, Lakshmi Vardhana. By the grace of Lakshmana, one's auspiciousness becomes multiplied manifold. And because one's auspiciousness becomes multiplied, a person becomes Shriman. Now, what to speak of somebody who has the direct darshan of Lakshmana? So Sugriva is here referred to as Shriman. And he's standing with his hands folded, palms folded. Kritanjalihi. Babhuva avastitah tatra kalpavriksho mahan eva. Lakshmana was shining like a great wish-fulfilling desire tree. The wish-fulfillingness is that anyone who comes in front of Lakshmana with folded hands can get all their worldly and otherworldly desires completely fulfilled. Ruma, Tara were side by side, and Sugriva was standing right in between them while he's offering his respects and obeisances to Lakshmana. Then Lakshmana says, Sugriva, for a king to thrive in his kingdom, he needs to be very, very dynamic. He needs to have great troops. He needs to be very sympathetic or compassionate. His senses must be conquered. He should be very faithful to his own citizens. And he should be someone who is a professor of truth. Only then can he thrive as a king. Here's the verse. Sattva abhijana sampanna. Sa anukroshaha jitendriyaha. Kritagyaha satyavadi cha raja loke mahiyate. Then Lakshmana gives him the opposite picture. Yastu raja stito adharme. But if a king is adharmic, mitranam upakarinam, and he does not know how to reciprocate with his friends who've shown him great loyalty, grace, support, mithya pratigyam kurute, such a person is a liar. He's the one who breaks his promise. Ko nushamsaha taraha tataha. Is there anyone worse than him? Nushamsa means cruel. Is there a person more cruel than him? So in Sanskrit, where you hear the suffix taraha, means its comparative degree. Like we have good, better, best. Best is superlative. Better is comparative. So we have nara, narottaraha, better than other human beings, and narottama, the best of human beings. In bhajans, we hear dukkhad dukkhataram yataha. That one malady can be worse than the other. Then he said, actually, Sugriva, if a person promises someone one horse, but does not fulfill that promise, then he gets the sin of killing 100 horses. If a person promises to donate one cow, but fails in that promise, then he gets the sin of killing 100 cows. But a person, a friend, who does not do the needful to his friends when they have helped him, gets the sin of suicide and also the sin of killing his entire family members. A fellow who's got his wishes fulfilled by his friends previously, but does not reciprocate, O Sugriva, such a person is worthy of being killed. And in the past, let me tell you, Sugriva, in the past, Lord Brahma uttered this shloka. And that shloka, I'm sure you may have heard, if not, hear from me. And this shloka, my spiritual master likes to quote and send to people again and again and again. The verse is, Go ghne cha eva surape cha chaure bhagnavrate tatha nishkritir vihita sadbhi kritagne na asti nishkritihi. Nishkriti means atonement. Go ghne cha eva, one who has hurt or killed a cow. Sura pecha, one who has violated the vow of austerity by consuming alcohol. Chaurecha, one who has committed thievery, meaning crossed moral boundaries. Bhagna vrate tatha, one may have made a vow, but then violated their vow or vows. Nishkritir vihita sadbhi, they have paths of atonement. There are ways by which they can remedy these transgressions. Kritagne, one who is ungrateful, na asti nishkritihi, there is no atonement for an ungrateful person. And then he says, Anaryatvam kritagnaha, you're uncultured and ungrateful. Cha mithyavadi vanaraha, and you have spoken a lie or you have cheated. Purvam kritartho ramasya natat pratikareshu na pratikaroshiyat. Previously you have benefited from Ramachandra's act of benevolence, and now you do not reciprocate. You have benefited by Sri Ramachandra. Again and again he's telling him how Ramachandra has benefited him in different ways by leaving aside his own situation and fought with Vali, got his kingdom back. Vali, who would have killed so many warriors, Ramachandra fought him, brought him back the kingdom, and made Sugriva the undisputed king of Kishkindha. And then Lakshmana repeats verbatim the warning that Ramachandra had said in the previous chapters. Nacha sankuchitaha pantha yena vali hatogata samaye tishta Sugriva ma vali pathamanvagaha. Na sankuchita, nacha sankuchitaha means that path has not closed. It has not become narrow. Which path? Yena vali hatogata, that path that Vali took after being killed. Samaye tishta Sugriva. Sugriva, get your act together and fulfill your promise. Mavali pathamanvaga. Don't follow the path that Vali took. Means don't bring upon yourself your own death. This warning, Sugriva is completely shaken up. His intoxicated condition has fallen away. He's become alert. And when we meet next time, we will hear what Sugriva has already accomplished, just has not communicated. And because he has not communicated, Lakshmana and Ramachandra don't know that, and because they don't know, it means it has not happened. And these are some things to learn, that one, to keep one's promise. Second, to not delay in fulfilling the promise. Third, if some activity in fulfilling that promise has been taken up, then communicate, so that friendship that has been established is not dented. Later, Sugriva is going to say something And he says that forming a friendship is easy. Living or keeping the friendship strong is very difficult, because people's minds are very whimsical, and a small thing that they may feel is big enough to completely destroy a friendship. If there are doubts or anger or any sort of dissatisfaction, even the smallest one can put that friendship that people have worked on very, very hard will become broken very easily. So it's difficult to nourish. It's easy to make friendships. It's difficult to nourish them, and so one should keep at it and not take it for granted. So that's coming up later, but let's see if there are any questions or comments, any thoughts. Anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hari bol.
You said that like if a person promises to give a horse but does not give a horse, then he gets the sin of killing 100 horses. But what if a person promises to give something non-living? Then
Promises to give what?
something non-living. Then
Yeah.
what's the sin?
Doesn't matter. The
Someone
principle
promises.
being, the principle being, we as human beings try to culture ourselves in such a way that if we say we will do something or not do something, that we live by it. Maharaj's favorite phrase is, a man is only as worthy as his words. So if something has been spoken or said, try to fulfill it. And if there is an issue with or a problem with, then communicate that. But the idea is human beings, and this is a tall order. I'm just repeating principle. I'm not saying I'm at that place, but if a commitment is made, if something has been told that I will do, then one should fulfill that. All right, Mother Priya, whether it is a horse, cow, word, thing, any that has been spoken that we will do or we have committed to, we try to fulfill. And if you're not able to fulfill, then we let the other person know, these are my reasons it's not being able to be fulfilled. That person can relieve us from that commitment then and say, okay, don't worry, don't forget about it. Then it relieves us. But unless they release us from such commitment, we follow as best as we can.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, I'm a little low on energy, so my sentences were sort of a little disjointed, and I'm not able to think fast or fast enough. Okay, if nothing else, see you next time. So next weekend is Sri Janmashtami and Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja. So I highly doubt we will have a class, because festivities, people will be busy, and in some cases there are extended festivities. in temples, and people have services. So don't expect a class next week. We will meet after that. Okay. So you're off the hook one more week, and then I'll be back in the US, plus a more orderly and predictable schedule and lifestyle. So then we can continue week after week. Okay, thank you for being patient with me. I'm always happy to see the names of you attending, and it just inspires me. So thank you. Although you could have spent your time doing something else, you're here. Hearing Lakshmana Deva's words are very, very potent. They bring auspiciousness in our lives. Just today was Lord Balram's appearance day, and we're hearing words spoken by Lakshmana, who has nothing in his heart except love for Ramachandra and complete service mindedness. And so he's teaching Sugriva, and through Sugriva, each one of us, every human being, a very, very potent lesson in what it takes to remain in that relationship with Sri Ramachandra, and on a more general way, what it takes to fulfill the great benevolence, or the great gift of having friends in our lives. So thank you, and see you again soon. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Sri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman.